Right, so naturally after posting a video about business and stuff, I'm going to go straight into politics. This one, I'm basically going to be analyzing a little, is my lens smudgy? Is there a smudge on there? No, okay. So I'm going to be analyzing a little back and forth I saw on Facebook just yesterday between a great friend of mine, good guy, I guess, I won't name him, but you probably know who you're talking about or who I'm talking about, dude. And it's like, you know, I've got a dude buried in my DMs, some fag I met at when I worked at UPS for like 3 weeks that, you know, you run into this as somebody who's not a total coward and not afraid to put what you think out there or afraid to take a stand on something for whatever reason. You run into this smarmy, nasty, scumbag leftist bullshit where people will just shit all over you. And it's like almost trying to like grab a pile of goo, right? Because you grab it and it just all squeezes through your fingers and like recoalesces on the ground because of, you know, kind of the very nature of leftism. It's as opposed to being on the right, you know, if you're on the left, that energy, that sort of mindset, it's all based fundamentally in chaos and nihilism and subjectivism, which I always find to be kind of an interesting fact because it's like these leftists will stand and moralize left, right, and center all day long when if you press a lot of them, they a lot of the times won't even agree that right and wrong exist or that truth exists. I know it's pretty fucking ridiculous. So I thought I'd take a situation here that was pretty stupid, you know, just to kind of go over it. And what had happened is my buddy, who I don't know if I said this already, is an absolutely great guy that I mean, you don't find dudes like this that often. And he had posted a meme that was obviously to anybody who's not a total moron to be a joke, and some loser commie came onto his status and just started talking shit. And I had to go, that's why I got a cell phone in my hand, because you know, after this retard, useless commie had come on and said all this nonsense, he decided to just delete everything he said. Like, what, you know? So really, it's like, you do something like that, it's like, what do you really didn't come on there to help anybody out, because if you would have, or if you wanted to attempt to stand by that claim, you would have left your stuff up so people could read it. You know, I was just yesterday, you know, kind of jokingly celebrating the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, or whatever her name is, and it's not that big of a deal. I think Trump's probably going to replace her with somebody that's basically the same, just hopefully not as bad on Second Amendment. But I guess a lot of people liked her because of her, you know, support of Roe v. Wade, which again, I think abortion should be legal, so that's fine. That being said, I don't think you should ever get one, and it's a horrible thing if you do, but there's no way that, you know, the state should be in there making moral proclamations about what you can and cannot do with your body. I think the price of having a government that does that is far and away worse than the price of, you know, a lot of babies that don't get to see the light of day, unfortunately, and as sad as that is. But she's pretty good. I haven't looked into her record, so I'm just going to stop talking about her. But anyway, yeah, homeboy posts a meme. You know, it's all funny. It's basically poking fun at people who, because we hear this all the time in our industry where it's like, you know, oh, I don't want to buy, I'm waiting for the prices to go down. It's like timing the market is not a very smart strategy. I think a lot of people use it as an excuse to not make a decision. And it's like, if you're looking for a value add, you can find that probably in your own backyard if you put the work in. But it's like, people don't understand that if you want to find a house or a deal where you're going to come up and make money on that, it's going to take work to find it. Like, what do you just think that $50,000 value adds just come and nobody snaps them up? It's like, come on, dude, you're trying to add to your portfolio the amount that a lot of people don't even make in a whole year, and you think it's just going to fall into your lap, or there's not going to be some competition with that. So we always kind of make fun of people who are like, oh yeah, I'm trying to time the market because there hasn't been a crash. Well, you don't really need a crash to find value add, for one, and for two, the market is, you know, even if there is a dip, we live in the United States. The Federal Reserve constantly prints money to the benefit of investors, much to the detriment of the poor class. I could make a whole video on why inflation is wrong, but that's the reason why it's unlikely that, especially in the long run, prices on houses are going to go down. They're not building anymore. We keep inviting more people in through immigration, and it's like, are you guys going to start moving to Detroit? I don't think so. So there isn't going to be any kind of sustained slowdown in housing prices unless something crazy happens. You know, it could, I'm not saying it can't, but you know. So anyway, let's get into the meat and potatoes here. The meme, you know, like I say, was basically poking fun at people who were, you know, trying to wait for a market crash. So we're gonna call him Commie Douche. So Commie Douche says, just a thought,
but poking fun at families and individuals wanting to be cautious with their finances during an oncoming recession may not be the best marketing strategy right now. Dropping the LOL after renters is likely especially hurtful as Americans face evictions. A more positive spin might be links to helping people understand low interest rates and creative loan solutions.
So, sentence by sentence. First of all, it's not just a thought, okay? You're being a little bitch if you come up on somebody's comments, like, oh, just a thought, but here, I'm gonna criticize everything about what you're saying. That's not just a thought, that's a criticism. So why can't you just come out and say that? Poking fun at families and individuals wanting to be cautious with their finances during an oncoming recession. So oncoming recession, all right, I guess we got a crystal ball. There could be a recession, there might not be. It depends on what happens, you know, on the political landscape, especially given what's going on. I'd be surprised either way, honestly. It's like everything's pretty hairy right now, but it's like, what grounds do you have to assume that just because you're renting, you're somehow automatically more cautious with your finances like that? What are those like two automatically linked? Like what are you just assuming? You've talked to all these renters and now you know? It's like, okay, but at the same time, dude goes, dropping the LOL after renters is especially hurtful as Americans face mass evictions. Again, who gives a fuck? Like just because you're in a bad spot, I'm supposed to be miserable, I can't make a joke. If I say things or if anybody else says things that you don't like, just don't look at it. You don't have to. There's no reason for you to do that. Anybody that tempers who they are or what they find funny or what they say because some namby-pamby ass weenie can't take a joke is doing themselves and others a severe disservice. It's like, no, I'm not gonna wallow in misery with you like some crab in a bucket. Piss off. And it's like just a thought. Like blow it out your ass, man. It's not just a thought. You're having a bad day, you're a whiny ass leftist, you're probably a loser, and you want everybody else to be down as you, and instead of saying, hey, I'm miserable, I want everybody else to be miserable, you sit there and act like, oh, I'm being some champion of the downtrodden, and you shouldn't. It's like, nah, dude, blow it out your ass. You're full of, you don't give a shit about those people, you know? You only give a shit about bringing people down who don't need to be down because you're down, you know? So, and it's like a more positive spin might be links to helping people understand low interest rates and creative loan solutions. So what? We can't make jokes anymore? What the fuck is wrong with you? That's just that's absurd. Like I'm not like, oh, my name's Ian, and here is a link to low interest rates and creative loan solutions. Creative loan solutions? Nobody's going to be able to take advantage of that. Aren't we coming to a recession? Aren't people being cautious with their money? Creative loan solutions like what? Hard money lending? It's pretty fucking expensive if you ask me. So, you know, my buddy responded, we're gonna skip that. Well, I guess I should, do we need to read that? I don't think so. But he was basically just trying to be cool with the guy, and naturally, as a slimy leftist piece of shit would, you know, he just kept going, you know, feeling for people and finding humor in their condition are not remotely held in the same regard. I'm a landlord and have many friends and family in real estate. They'd agree as professionals there is a stewardship that should be adhered to in order to maintain the humanity of these life-changing transactions. So you see the language, right? Stewardship, life-changing, transactions. Oh, I have friends who are in real estate. They're equally as miserable and cowardly as me, and they would certainly agree that you've got to walk around with a stick up your ass and never take a joke. And you know, if there's one sad person out there in the whole town, well, you better not go on the Facebook group for the town and make a joke because you're going to make them feel bad, okay? You know, and the thing to that end is like, how many of these people are getting evicted because they're idiots, all right? How many people are getting evicted because they don't want to be comfortable? How many people are getting evicted because, like, how hard is it to come up with a rainy day fund? Like, why are you in this environment where you're expecting people to foot your bill, make up for your mistakes, and feel bad for you when it's probably your fault? Like, whose fault is it that you got into a rental house that you couldn't afford? You did that. Are you gonna die? Are you gonna die if you go out even in winter and just camp for a few months? Like, what stopped you when you got your job and started going out on your own? You know, what stopped you from being really uncomfortable for an extended period of time so you could build up some kind of savings? Your laziness did. You did. That's not my fault. So when you're 5 years down the road and the government orchestrates some ridiculous catastrophe over a disease that literally kills a fraction of the people we were told to think that it did, you know, why is that my fault? Now I can't tell a joke because you're sad because you're a loser? Yeah, no thanks. Get over yourself. So, you know, and the whole they'd agree as professionals or as a stewardship, like everything is subjective, guys. Outside of very few fundamental tenets, it's very, very hard to say, like, okay, it's impossible for you to make the case that it's right or wrong to make a joke or not to make a joke. But to come and say, well, I know X, Y, or Z people that agree with me, you know, that's like saying the scientific consensus on global warming is that it exists. It's like, who cares? You know, what's right and what's wrong, what's true and what's false has nothing to do with how many people think it's true. That's like saying, well, there's a billion Muslims out there, so Allah must be real. No, if you say something like that, you're just a dumbass. So, what else got here? Oh, and this is where we get into the supercilious, self-aggrandizing, I'm standing up for the little guy and I'm going to use language that shits all over you type of thing, which these leftists are good at, and a lot of you guys probably dealt with this when you were in public school or being raised by these women that obviously did a terrible job with society based off the way it is with their dumbass leftist subjectivist nonsense. But I'm certain your post was made in jest. Like, yeah, okay, so now not only am I speaking on behalf of everybody who's a loser, probably because it's their own fucking fault, but now I'm going to jump into your mind and you see the megalomaniacal nonsense that goes on here. It's like these leftists think they're masters of the universe and stuff. And I'm not saying that you can't. Look at me, I'm a dick all the time. I think it's hilarious, but I'm not sitting here trying to use a bunch of stupid shit like this to back up my points. It's like, no. It's like, hey, I said that and I don't have anything to say. It's just something I like. If you want to have a discussion about it, that's fine. But I'm not going to sit here and use all this bullshit ass language. And from an innocent, I'm certain your post was made in jest and from an innocent attempt at humor. Who the fuck are you talking to, dude? What are you trying to act like you're talking to a 5-year-old? What kind of, but see, this is the kind of language that passes off as okay, because this is what we're used to in a world that has such a heavy feminine presence. I'm the leftist, I care about poor people, or I claim to care about poor people despite having no evidence that giving them money does anything but make me feel good for pretending to solve problems that I did nothing to solve and probably made worse, and therefore I'm superior to you, and this is why I'm gonna use this language, Just know people are hurting and you have the ability to help rather than hinder people. Again, making the assumption that making jokes hinder people. I mentioned on that thread that I've had extreme hardship. I've had the kind of hardship that most people will never experience in their whole life. More power to you. Do I sit here and look at posts like a little bitch and go, oh, I can't get a house of my own, I'm just gonna cry and you can't tell a joke? No. And honestly, I've been in that position before, so that's how I know exactly where this loser's coming from, because I've been a leftist and I've been a loser, and I know exactly the mind space that they're kind of coming from. It's like, no, you're not. What happened is you saw the post, you had a little fucking tissy fit, and now you're gonna go and try and make other people, feel as bad as you do because you're a fucking loser. So you have the ability to help rather than hinder people and retain. This is how you know he's a leftist. Aside from the language, you should be able to see, okay, from this first comment, this is how you know he's a leftist, but and retain the basic human right to a roof over their head. Having a roof over your head is not a human right. That does not conform with a civilized society in any way, shape, or form. It's kind of like saying having access to medical care is a human right. It's not. In order for it to be a human right, that would mean that you would have to have unrestricted access to it. How are you going to get unrestricted access to it? Well, you're going to force people who are medical professionals or who own medical equipment to perform their services at your request, regardless of whether or not they want to. That's called being a fucking slave. We got rid of that a long time ago. So there is no basic right to a roof over your head. That doesn't exist. Personally, I don't think rights exist. The concept doesn't make a lot of sense, but to say that you have a right to a roof over your head, that's absurd. How are you going to do that? And these people that say, oh, well, you have a right to have a roof, blah, 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 blah. It's like, go buy a house in Detroit. You can get one for maybe $5-10 grand with maybe $5-10 grand worth of taxes behind it and fix it up. There's your roof. So what are you going to do otherwise? You're going to go to the city in Detroit and force them to give you this house they own? Or I rent this house. So what are you going to do? There's 4 people in town that are homeless. So you're going to force them into the place that I pay for, that my landlord owns? What do you not understand how important property rights are to the equation of a free society? Apparently not, which is why you say stupid shit like this on other people's Facebooks who are probably doing better than you and in all honesty, bringing more good to the world. Okay, I can say that for sure in the case of this dude, at least as far as it comes to my experience with him. So I think we got a little bit more here. Again, my buddy kept trying to just be cool with them. I don't do that. I just like to cuss people out because there's no real disadvantage to doing that. They're like, oh, well, you're in real estate and you might not get any client. Really? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit. If you want to look at me and say, oh, well, Ian's on the right and Ian's not PC and I'm not going to use Ian as my agent, well, congratulations. You just fucked yourself over. So, doodly-doo.
I don't think it's negative or polarizing to be aware of how a reposted content can reinforce problematic issues.
What problematic issues? Is the problematic issue having a sense of fucking humor? Is the problematic issue not being a whiny little bitch? Is the problematic issue like not being a weenie like you or expecting other people that actually work and actually produce to pay for my way? Is that really a problematic issue? Are you fucking retarded? And you go look at this guy, you click through his pictures, and now I'm not saying I'm any kind of like super sexy dude or anything, not at all. But this guy, he's got leftist mutant written all over his face. Some kind of, and his guitars and all of his pictures. He's some faggot with a band. Like, you find me one Christian, one right-wing dude that's not a total loser and also in a band, and I'll give you $1. Not seriously, but you know what I'm saying. You go look at these music types. It's like, why people ask me, Ian, why don't you go to concerts? Like, really? Why don't I go to concerts? Well, first of all, I can do drugs in the comfort of my own home. And it's like, I don't want to go be around like all these, have you seen videos? Like, what am I going to go do a bunch of like ecstasy and hang out in the mud and like do naughty things with strange people I'll never see again and catch diseases? Like, no, you can have fun at your concert, band boy. God. And like this ties into like my buddy was trying to be cool with him, right? And then he shits on that.
We've only met once as I recall, but I've supported and liked your posts as you've grown your business.
Yeah, I've supported you by giving you a like. Whoop-de-fucking-do. You call that support? Well, all that, I don't care if you like my dude's post 1,000 times. Any of that support was totally just blown out of the water by the fact that you're all over here shitting on somebody's comments. On top of the fact that you didn't even have the balls to leave it up there like, I'm trying to help. Bullshit. You're not trying to help anybody. You're trying to use people that are having a shitty time as an excuse to shit on somebody else. It's probably doing better than you. You're a landlord? Pff, I tell you what, guys, if there's one thing I've learned about real estate, it's that people that are landlords and wholesalers and fix and flippers are full of shit. So there's probably, I guess maybe some dude in the band that sucks at life and just plays acoustic guitar and thinks he's cool. Like, yeah, maybe you're some hotshot real estate investor. Somehow I doubt it, but I guess that's neither here nor there.
I think this post is just more tone deaf.
Again, tone deaf? What the fuck? What does that even mean? Like, tone deaf, like I'm not aware of my own whiteness. Oh, you must be wrong about everything because you're a white supremacist. It's a bunch of fucking idiots, these people. I thought it was important to raise concerns. Yeah, it was so important to raise concerns that your bitch ass turned around and deleted everything you said. Yeah, it must have been real important to you, dude. Yeah, real important.
I lived through the 2008 crash and see the same signs in place again.
Really? You lived through the 2008 crash? Wow, me too, dickhead. I graduated high school just in the wake of the 2008 crash. Ooh, does that give me a medal? We live in America. You can't get any easier living than this. It's so easy to live here that everybody's depressed and on drugs because they don't know what to do without some kind of suffering. It's really sad. Maybe another video topic's right there. But it's like, I see the same signs again. Really? In 2008, did the government do a moratorium on evictions? I don't think so. I mean, did the government freak out about some phony plague that just kills, I don't know, like a fraction of the percent of people that get it? I don't think so. So this environment's just a teensy bit different. And I know they passed a bailout package in 2008, but was that anywhere near the size of the CARES Act? I don't think so. So look at me. I'm talking for poor people. I'm some sort of guy that, look at me. I'm making predictions, and I thought it was important to raise concerns. And it's like, God, I hate these people so much.
Using these platforms to help prepare the public, especially those professionals knowledgeable in positions like you, could be very helpful. I'm bowing out of this
because I'm a little bitch.
Here, but I'm happy to continue the debate if you feel it's helpful over the phone or messaging.
How is anything that you just said helpful for anybody but your own bitch-ass self? You don't give a shit. And this is what I love about leftists and virtue signalers and people in general. Like, you don't give a single shit about people that are poor or having a rough time. You just like to feel good by using them as a kind of sacrificial lamb on the altar of your own bullshit. Well, I care about poor people and I care about black people, so I'm gonna shit on people that are doing well. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And by the way, it's also so important to me that I deleted everything I said. Woohoo, yeah. What a trooper, dude. What an agent for good in the world you are. Good heavens. Good heavens, if you feel it's helpful over the phone or messaging. Why? Because you're a little bitch? I get people do this to me all the time, like,
well, I'm going to withdraw myself from this conflict because I'm so good that I don't discuss things in public and hooly-doo.
No, you're just a coward and a little bitch and you're full of shit. And that's why you're scurrying away back to your goo lagoon of communist nonsensicalities. Oh, we're getting on 20 minutes here. Okay, gotta finish up. So my boy says some more nice things, and then the dude says,
I'm just going to delete our little diatribe now to keep extra traffic from coming here.
yeah, God forbid any of the poor people that I care so much about pop on here and read what I said and are enlightened. You know, it's not like I'm totally full of shit.
Hope your transition from art to capitalism continues.
Wow, art to capitalism. So what's this guy, some artist? Really? You and your acoustic guitar? You're not an artist, you're a fucking douchebag, dude. Wow, hope your transition from art to capitalism gives you purpose and sustainable happiness. No, you don't. You don't give a fuck about my dude. You don't give a fuck about anybody but yourself and coming on to shit on other people that are doing better than you, because you'll be a loser for the rest of your life. Probably, you know, I'm sure that might have something to do with the fact you're a leftist. In fact, I think I have a production in the pipes about why being and how being a leftist, or even embodying leftist views, sets you up to be weak, pathetic, smarmy, whiny, all sorts of nasty things. Kind of like the guy in this little didgeridoo-me here, this whole diatribe. It's a diatribe. Yeah, look at me. I'm cool. It's a diatribe. You're a diatribe. Peace. God, hope your transition from art to capitalism gives you purpose and sustainable happiness. Gag me with a fucking spoon, okay? And these are the kind of people that are out there like,
oh yeah, I'm about social justice and women's rights and, you know, all my policies manifest in any group I'm supposed to care about turning out like shit. So, but I got to pretend like I was somebody that gives a shit and makes good in the world without having to lift a finger. Haha, you're cool.
It's like, wow. Talk about being the change you want to see in the world. I think I'm going to message this guy and tell him I made a little video about his status. I can't wait to see what he says. Probably some more, you know, supercilious crap, you know, because these people are just full of shit. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the rant, folks. I'm going to skididdly doodle here, and hopefully, I guess I don't get kicked off the platform for this. But anyway, have a nice day.